Okay, to go to the FTIS system, it's very simple. Just type FTIS.org. Okay, and it's going to take you to the FTIS homepage. And FTIS actually has 3 component programs. And the first, the one that we're going to look at is called INDAS, or Integrated National Transit Database Analysis System. On INDAS, it's going to take you to the INDAS homepage. To get into the system, just click on this Enter INDAS icon. And then it's going to take you to the login page. And so this is where we put some of the news items. And I think a lot of our users probably bookmark this page so they can quickly get into the system. So if you are existing users, you can just type in your password and you'll be set to go. If you are new users and you need to sign on to get your password, to sign on, all you have to do is to click on the access request form, and it will take you to the registration page. And after you read the terms and conditions or whatever you call it, click on the checkbox, and it's going to show you a form, and complete the form and click on register, and you're going to receive an email with your password. So for now, I'm just going to go back, use my password to log in. Click on Go, and it's going to take you to the first page of the FTIS system. And you can see on top there are 6 different tabs. Most of the users probably already know what system they are looking for. For example, if I'm looking for data for the Miami-Dade transit, I'm going to select Florida, and it's going to list all the transit system in the state of Florida. So I can go down the list to look for Miami-Dade transit, or if I'm more familiar with the NTD ID, I might sort the list by NTD ID, and then I can look for the system more quickly. For example, Miami-Dade transit is 4034. I'm going to select Miami-Dade transit, and of course I can select any number of systems, or I can unselect a system just by clicking on it again. After you have selected the system, you can click on forms, or before you do that, if you want to select only certain modes, by default it's going to select all modes, and also by default it's going to select both directly operated and purchase transportations. For example, if I'm only interested in motorbus system and I'm only interested in directly operated system, I'm going to uncheck the purchase transportations. Then I can click on forms, and you can see I have just retrieved the data into the forms, and by default it starts from 205, and then you can click on next. It's going to get you to the next record and next record, and you can also click on these tabs to show all the different forms, all the different NTD forms that you have. So I can just close to go back to the original page. And as I just mentioned just now, by default we go from 2004 to 2010 for 6 years, and you can select more number of years, and in fact you can go all the way back to 1984, and this is probably the only place where you're going to be able to find all the NTD data that go back to 1984 for a total of 26 years of NTD data. And the second tab is the statewide system. For the statewide data. From some state agency, they might be more interested in statewide data rather than individual system data. So you can select any state and select any mode, and then you will be able to retrieve the data for the states. So the third tip, starting about 3 or 4 years ago, and FTA started to release some data based on UZA. So we have also incorporated the UZA data. In this case, it really only goes back to 2008, even though the list shows all the way back to 1984, but the latest data is from 2008 to 2010. Okay. Again, you can select any UZA and be able to retrieve the data. The next step is select with queries. If you don't know any specific system that you are looking for example, you might be interested in some system that meet a specific profile. For example, if I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to look for any system that with average speed less than 10 miles per hour, and I'm only interested in the motor bus system, then you can run the query, and it's going to show that there are 51 systems, but this is from 2005 to 2010. And if I just select 2010 and run the query again, and you say that in 2010 there are 29 motor bus systems in the United States that has an average speed that's running below 10 miles per hour. The next step is select peers, and this is really the main cause of our presentation today. The interface is very simple, and the only things that you have to choose is the target agencies. So, for example, if I'm going to try to find the peers of the Miami-Dade transit system, I'll select Florida. It's going to list all the systems in Florida. I'm going to select Miami-Dade Transit, and that's all I have to select. So I'll just click Find Peers, and this is the result. As Paul mentions, any numbers greater than 1 is undesirable, and as you can see here, there are not too many choices, and by default it's going to select the first 5 systems, and the first system is always the target system. So this will be the 5 potential peers, even though 0.9 is not that great. As Paul mentions, sometimes because it's a major system, you really don't have that many choices. And let's say we would go back and select a smaller system, for example, Broward County Transit. And if I only want to do it by specific mode instead of agency-wide data, so in this case, by default, it's going to select just based on the motor bus system. Then I'll go ahead and find peers again. And in this case, you will see that we have more choices. Now many more number of systems that are below 1. So as you can see, it calculates all the scores for all the systems that report to the NTD system. So again, I mentioned by default it checks the first 5, and but if for any reason you don't like the first 5 or you want to select more, or for example, if I want to have Central Florida, another system from Florida. And if I want to unselect another system, I can just click on it. After I've made my selections, I can just click on Save Peers, choose the second option, which is to save all the check system as a peer group. So I'm going to call this BCT, Broward County Transit Peers. Click on Save. So it's going to save the 5-peer system for BCT system. So I'll go to Select Group, and I was just testing it, so that I can just click on delete this. Okay, and this is the one that I've just saved, and if I click on BCT peers, and it's going to list all the systems in that group. So if I want to get the data for this 6 systems, I will just click on All. So I've selected all the systems, all the 5 peers plus my own system. And with that, I can click on, for example, Reports. So this will give you the train tables. We have 3 different standard reports. The first one is called General Performance Indicators, and we have the effectiveness measures and the efficiency measures. To go to the next report, you just click on it, and it's going to refresh. So one reason that we use 6 years is because our standard report can accumulate up to 6 years. That's why we always use 6 years as a default. Or you can also get the peer report by clicking on the peer radio button. Click on MB, and you will see that it will give you effectiveness measures report with the target system and the peer system, so you can compare the number across the different peer systems. Okay, going back, or if you are interested in some other variables, you can click on tables, and this will take you to another screen that will allow you to select different variables. There's a long list of variables which we call the original entity variables, and these are the variables with data that originally come from the FTA directly. So for example, if I type in trips, because there are more than 1,000 variables, it's going to be very difficult to look for a specific one. So you will almost always have to type in some keyword to be able to find the variables you need. So in this case, if I'm interested in the total ridership, I will select annual total earning passenger trips, and S10 is always preceded by the form numbers. This variable came from form S10. So select annual total earning passenger trips. Or if you are familiar with the entity form, you can also click on any of these forms. For example, if I want to select the total molar expenses, so I can just come in here and check total molar expenses and click on close, and you'll see I have just selected another variable. Or you can select any of these variables, what we call the Florida standard variables. These are the performance variables that the state of Florida use. But that doesn't mean that other states cannot use. And no, in fact, any other system, any agency will be able to use at least some of these variables. For example, I'm going to select average speed, and I've just added average speed to the list. I can also select average headway. I've just added that. And these are the variables that are actually calculated from the original entity variables. For example, average speed, if you take the revenue miles divided by revenue hours, you'll get the average speed. And it's pre-calculated, so you don't have to do the calculation yourself. After you have selected the variables, now every time you log in, you have to reselect those variables. And what you can do is to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to just call it my variables and click save. And you see that I have my variables now from the select variable group list, and just select my variables. And you'll see now all the 4 variables will be selected. So I just click on table again. It's going to retrieve all the variables, all the data for the 4 variables for all the peer system plus your own system from year 2005. Again, you can always go back to as many years as is available. And we have a number of functions on this screen. And of course, many people would choose to export it to Excel. So you can perform the data analysis outside the system after you have made all the selections. Some of the functions, for example, this is inflations. And there's only $1 variable called total motor expenses. So click on OK, and it's going to convert all the dollars to the standard 2011 year dollars. And of course, you can select any other years, or if you want to select 2010, just click on OK again. So this will be the equivalent of $2010, and for all the numbers. Or you can click on the cross tables, and you want to check the average speed for motor bus system. So it will quickly show you the different years for different systems and what is the average speed. I can click on charge, and it's going to do a charge for you for different years and also for different systems. And of course, the software we use for this drawing is kind of old. We have not been able to update it, and it doesn't look too nice. And that's why most people export it and in order to get a better graph. We also have another function, for example, called summation. If you are interested in just system-wide data and you don't care for the different modes and different service type, so you can just select year and NTD ID and click OK, and you will see that it's going to sum the data for the system entirely and sum all the modes and service type together.